Hello everybody, Cubits here again, and today we are at the desk because I've got a Glistco Magni-Stock, which is the first stock that I've got that has come in like fancy retail packaging. Now with these like $80 to $85 stocks, the packaging probably isn't that important. Every dollar that's spent on holographic stickers is a dollar that's not spent anywhere else. And of course, like, the box is fun and for the first time and everything, but you know, once it's assembled, you're never going to see this boy again. So we got some Glistco branded tissue paper going on, and then once we're inside here, all the parts look pretty nice, the clamps and things, and we've got our two magnetic cups here, and they are handily denoted left and right. Yep, so you know which way around to put it. Yep, so it should be around this way around for me. Okay, and these have got the magnet is fixed horizontally to a like little rectangle shape with a little bit of a tapered edge on it, a little bit of a rounded edge. That's a pretty solid loud engagement. So what do you get for your $85 with this guy? You get two two grips, two magnet connector bases basically. So there's you don't get two front hand grips like you do with the Modus. It's like most stocks where you only have the two controllers you set up. We have a buttstock here. This one appears to have a sliding pin design. Oh yeah, so that plugs into a track, and then we slide on a pin to adjust the height of our cheek weld. So it's a cheek weld stock like the Modus or the Bowk Marksman. Right, you get a sling. Oop, my packages keep breaking when I try and open them. This is actually quite a nice sling. The one that comes with the Modus is just a strap. This is a 2-point harness as well, a 2-point sling, which is interesting. That means that when you let your hands out of the stock, the stock will sit more level, won't just hang by one point. So yeah, that might be interesting. I usually use like single points, so we'll see how we go with this. It's got a bit of elastic in it as well. So we've got a nice elastic strap with a Glistco label on it as well. Interesting. So that's a pretty quality piece of kit. That's not bad at all. We'll put that guy over there. And then we've got our instructions here. Oh, they're actually printed on card, not paper. Ooh. That's some high density cardstock right there. There we go. Stick your two tubes together and put your controllers on the tubes. Okay, yeah. So it's pretty basic. Okay, and then these are our carbon tubes. The Modus is aluminium. These are considerably lighter than aluminium, but the Modus itself is only 350 grams. So we'll whack this guy on the scales when we're done and see how it compares. But upgrading your Modus to carbon would be pretty neat, just to save a few grams if you're into that sort of thing. So, the build quality on this is in between. I say the print quality is in between the Bowk stock and the Modus. I'm not sure if this is SLA or ABS. The Bowk stock is SLA. The Modus is ABS. I suspect because the cups don't quite feel that rigid, I suspect this is in fact an ABS print like the Modus. It's got a little bit more spring to it. What's curious about the Glistco design as well is the cups themselves have a plastic insert which slips out like this, and this is a little rubbery insert to hold the cups, which the Bowk stock doesn't need because it uses a much more rigid print. And the Modus has a sort of a split cup design that pinches in at the top, so that puts a little bit of spring tension on the cups themselves. Whereas this is pretty much just gripping it. It's sort of like the effect. The effect looks a bit like plumber's tape. Just fills the gap and creates a little bit more pressure between the two surfaces. So yeah, this is a 2-point stock design. The 2-piece carbon tube is held together with this joiner in the middle. So it doesn't have any articulation at all, like the Bowk stock, which we have here. So this is the Bowk stock, and this is the Glistco. I'll put these back here a little bit. So yeah, as you can see, I've got it set up pretty similarly. I've got my front hand rotated a bit more on this guy here. But one thing we're noticing here is this cup design, the controller stops here, like this cup where you see this little pinch in. And we've got this massive distance here between the rod and the cup. And what this does is it creates a torque moment when you're pulling back on the controllers. It creates torque through the rod, and you have this torque arm here when you're pulling back. So that will create more spring in all of the joints. Whereas with the Bowk stock, the cup terminates right down here, basically. So like less than an inch above the tube, like only a centimeter above the tube. And that means that when you're pulling backwards on the cups, the pull is much straighter into the shoulder. So you'll get less flex. If you again look at the Modus instead, so now we have the Glistco at the front and the Modus at the back. The Modus has 2 points of articulation instead of the 0, so this is a much squarer design, whereas this is fully adjustable. I actually use mine at, whoops, the magnets are attracting each other. I use my Modus at an angle like this, and so this approaches the 2-point articulation of the Pro Tube more, where I have my front hand lower and my front hand is higher and my rear hand is lower down. So I'm actually like this. It brings my front hand up a little bit higher. So I'm not shooting like this. I'm shooting like this. This should actually be tilted a bit more forwards as well. But yeah, you can see if we keep that vertical into my shoulder, the front hand does come up. But the magnet point on these is way down here, and the bottom of the cup is right here, right above this joint, because he's used a side-on design. And so the torque moment is this basically, and so you can actually pull a lot harder without it popping the cups. Also, because the magnet is a side-on design with these 2 tabs here, it means that when you pull back, you're trying to break 2 pieces of plastic off, basically. You're trying to shear plastic instead of just separating a magnet plane. So this does pull back. This does pull off a lot easier straight backwards, whereas this can take a lot more pull. But because it has that articulation joint, you can see it does start to flex when you pull into it too hard. And if you pull back any harder, this joint will actually skip a tooth before these cups pull out. So yeah, interesting differences in design here. So this is actually $5 more than this one, and you get your carbon tubes and then a much simpler design actually, whereas this is aluminium tubes, but you get articulation points. You only get a single point sling instead of the dual point sling, but adding this tab to the front here would fix that right up. You could have a 2-point sling on these guys, no problem. Of course, the cheek weld height is adjustable on both of them, but this one also has an adjustable heel angle and an adjustable sort of pivot point down there as well. So yeah, let's jump into Onward and have a bit of a play, shall we? All right. Let's get the controllers in this bad boy and get in there. So this is the assembled stock with our sling on, our 2-point sling. So if we let the gun go, can't see it sitting a bit low actually, but yeah, it sort of sits more parallel. So if you pull both of the controllers off, it just sort of sits flat across you. Pick that up with those, and we're ready to go. As you can see here, the cups actually sit really shallow in the controller. So if we pull that out, you can see you've got that little white insert in there. Yeah, we whack that in, and it's just the tip. So as you can see, they're not going to fall out once you push them in properly. Yeah, the cups are magnets are a bit slippery, especially like tilting forwards on that front one. It's not as stiff as the Modus, and of course nowhere near where the Bowk is for pulling back on the controllers. But yeah, let's just jump into Onward and have a bit of a shoot. Let's do that now. And we're back. We've got our controllers here. There is a little hole on the inside for the wrist strap to come out. But if I'm wearing my straps as knuckle straps, I actually want the hole to be on the outside. So I can pass the strap up this way and onto the side of the ring here. So I can't have my knuckle straps attached to these. Okay, I'm just going to bring my stock up. All right, grab my gun. Okay, it's sort of lined up. I got to get the cheek rest a little bit higher because I set it a bit low by accident. Ooh. There we go. Oh, yeah, that magnet didn't really clip on that well. Sort of went on at a bit funny angle, and didn't locate itself nicely. And down around these trees somewhere. Woo. There he goes. Did I just pull that? Oh god, I pulled it out of the cup, didn't I? Ridiculous. Yeah. Here we go. Clipped one, but the other guy got away. There he goes. Oh yeah, see, because the cups are so shallow, I'm actually tipping the controller out of the cup instead of tipping the whole cup off. It's bizarre. Oh. Yeah. I'm not so sure about these mag points. And even though they've got a bit of a texture to them, they're kind of slippery because they're so short. I can feel the controller moving in the cup. Not sure if my little white plastic thing fell out just before. Maybe that's the problem on the front hand. Anyway, how many guys have we got left? Oh, I did it again. And then trying to tip... Yeah, no, the white cup's still in there. It's just not grabbing properly. Should we try using our... Yeah, see, I can use a pistol like this. And can I use a pistol... Kinda, I can brace, but my hands are really... You can see my hands are so far apart in game. Oh, I can't. So they're actually so far apart because of that height difference caused by the joints and the mag cup and the magnet link. I can't actually grip my gun while I've got my hand below it. So normally I'd put my hand underneath like this, and then it brings my hand up in game like that and gives me that additional stability. Whereas I literally can't do that. I can only physically brace, and then if I pull the trigger with my pistol, it just points straight up in the air after like 2 shots. So yeah, that's unfortunate. I don't think I'm going to find the other 2 guys. I'm going to have to just get out of this one myself. Whew. So that's a quick look at the Glistco Magni-Stock. It looks good. It came in a fancy box with that holographic sticker. That was cool. It's got carbon fiber. That's cool. It's got a 2-point sling with elastic and nice clips. That's great. But the letdowns are the magnets. They don't have any sort of pull resistance because they're flat. They don't locate that well. Like you can see, like if you don't put it on straight, it doesn't automatically locate. Usually you have like a tapered cup or something that'll sort of twist it into the right spot. The cups themselves are too shallow and they don't have a lip on the front. So if you go to pull the controller, you pull the controller instead of the actual whole magnet base. And because it's like it doesn't have that lip, your fingers tend to slip off the cup anyway, and then that happens. And if you do pull a controller and the little plastic liner comes out, you're going to have to find that like mid-match on the floor and put it back in, because if you just jam the controller into the hard cup without that layer in there, it falls out even easier the next time. So yeah, it's needs some revision, I think, in the design. I'd like a lip on here. I'd like a deeper cup to get more fingers on the cup to hold it a bit better. I'd prefer to have a magnet point that is closer to the rail, because as you saw before, I couldn't actually use my pistol with the rear controller still on the stock, because if I did this and tried to grip, my hand was actually too far away from the pistol to grip in game. So you're effectively shooting one-handed in onward, which means that you have massive recoil with the pistol, and that renders it useless. So you have to pull two controllers to actually use the pistol, which is a disadvantage. I don't like to. I like to leave it hooked up like this. Yeah, so I prefer the Modus V2 to this stock. If you want something that's magnetic around that $80, $85 mark, the Modus, you get everything this offers you, plus extra articulation, so you can set it up a little bit nicer instead of just a straight pipe. It has a second front stock magnet point, so you can have like your little SMG P90 thing, and then a more stretched out rifle front hand. And it's got much better magnet points. They're lower, they are completely resistant to pull. You'll actually pop the articulation joints before the magnet lets go, and they come off easier, and they locate themselves a little bit stronger as well. And they might even be a bit quieter. They actually have spaces that you can adjust, which will weaken the magnets on the Modus, whereas this at full strength is nowhere close to strong enough, really. And it's all just because of that mounting point there. So yeah, even the wrist strap hole here, I mean, that's fine for a wrist strap, but I like my knuckle straps, which I can run on the Modus thanks to the slit up the back. And again, an alternative at that price point is the Bowk VR, which does the carbon fiber thing, but it's much, much stiffer. You can even get the Marksman upgrade, which has the cheek weld area if you really need a cheek weld. But frankly, the Signature Bowk is fine for me, and that thing is rock solid. The cups do not slip like these ones, even without a liner. The cups are better. They've got that little lip on them, and you feel much more connected to that one. Yeah, so that has about as much adjustment as this, because this doesn't have any articulation points. It's got this in the middle, which doesn't move at all. So yeah, this stock looks good on paper, but it's not that great. I'd definitely go with one of the other ones. What a disappointment. Oh well, I'll see you in the next one. Oh shit.